Horror games haven't been very good recently. The mainstream market has been flooded with the kind of games you'd see on GameJolt. And per usual, we have to rely on the indie games, like Lost in Vivo, Iron Lung, Total Chaos, and many others. But I believe that one of the best of these is Cry of Fear was made by Team Sykescalar. This game runs on the Gold Source engine, but you might notice that the graphics are much better than Half-Life's or Counter-Strike's, and that's because Cry of Fear uses the renderer from another Gold Source mod called Paranoia. One small issue I found, though, is that there are some places with really out-of-place textures, but it isn't very frequent, so I'll let it slide. The gameplay is quite fun and very unique in certain aspects. First, the controls. You use W, A, S, and D to move. If you hold Shift or Control, Simon will sprint or crouch respectively. Spacebar makes Simon jump, and yes, there is crouch jumping. The inventory only has 6 slots, and an AR-15 could take up the same space as a small key. You can dual-wield weapons as well. Speaking of guns, there's a feature I like where if you reload, Simon will dump out any bullets in the mag. And no, you can't get them back. This creates an interesting dynamic. Like, should I reload my gun, wasting any spare bullets, but have enough ammo to win a potential fight? And most rooms and areas are dark, so you'll end up having to dual wield your pistol and your phone, making your accuracy worse. So, how about the parkour? Well, I'm not really fond of it. The crouch jumping can be pretty finicky at times and like a bit of a clunky mess at others. However, there is quite a bit of the platforming that's actually pretty fun. You heal with dirty syringes you find lying around. Oh, how wholesome. Very wholesome. If you use too many syringes too fast, you'll actually overdose, but you'll normally never do this because the healing is very forgiving. Using syringes also recovers your stamina as well, so you can use it to escape a fight if you need to, as well as healing up during it. Another feature I like is that if you crouch while you're regaining your stamina, it actually regains faster than if you were doing it just normally. You can also dodge in any direction, although you're really only going to be using the backwards dodge to avoid enemies in melee. At the beginning of the game, Simon is hit by a car and wakes up in an alleyway, which is typical Swedish behavior. And his mom now wants him home. But wait, did you really think it would be that easy? Simon now has to fight spooky monsters in Stockholm. I like how Simon looks very unassuming, like you could just bump into him in public and not even notice. The environments are really interesting in my opinion. Going around through these places, it's really interesting and you see a lot of really cool locations. You got the streets of Stockholm, the apartments, the mental asylum from later on, subways. It's all very varied. But the enemies is where it's at. You can have spooky people with hammers. And, of course, bin-bag children, bladed ladies, beds that have people strapped to them. All sorts of stuff. It's really crazy. And I like it.
Overall, I think Cry of Fear is definitely worth your time, especially since it's free. It does have a few things holding it back from pure greatness, but overall, it's a very, very good game.